Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to tonight's second half. Before we jump into tonight's second half, a couple links I'd like to share. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to tonight's second half, shall we? So, quick update on the book. I worked with the publishing company. They took out the 2 chapters that needed to be taken out, and I rewrote the foreword. I don't know any more than that. I rewrote and submitted the foreword. Today, actually, I submitted it. It's been in the process of rewriting it for the last couple of days. But yeah, I don't have any more info. I'll just keep you guys in the mix. Other than that, I can't say any more. Minus 2 chapters and a different foreword. So tonight's second half is an interview that I did with Victor. And I had been talking with someone about a week ago, talking about Vietnam and reptilians being spotted in Vietnam, the rock apes, Dogmen, etc., UFOs. There was a lot of crazy stuff that happened during that conflict. And not just what I said, there was just a lot of stuff. And what our GIs witnessed, besides the atrocities of war, was unbelievable. Cryptid, paranormal. So, but Victor's gonna, this is an old interview that Victor had done, and he shed a lot of light on some things that occurred during that conflict. Let's get into it. Victor, and he told me that he had some very interesting information to share with me about a kind of op that occurred in Vietnam. So, Victor.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm here. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. I'm glad that I've got you on today. That way people can know that you're alive. I've got a lot of emails saying, hey, what's up with Victor? Is he alive? He is very much alive.
I'm still here.
So, how's dialysis and everything going?
Dialysis is going well. Doing it every day now. So it's keeping me cleaned out, doing well.
Right.
Kidneys doing good. You know, trying to, restart a little bit, but not as much, not enough to keep me going for long periods of time. I can skip days at a time, but I can't go for an extended amount of time.
Okay.
You know, but
now that was a big thing that I kind of wanted to clear up, because the last time we had you on, we had talked about you going on vacation with your kids and to Portlock, Alaska, and you had
started dialysis, and a couple people had asked about that, and the answer was that you really didn't. At the time, you were just starting it, and
I was just getting underway. My kidneys were still producing at the time, and I was able to go at that time. When I took that, I could probably go 2 weeks without it, but it was better if I was on it, you know, a lot quicker than that. But, you know, at the end of the 2 weeks, you know, I could tell that I was getting sicker and sicker, and I know that it was a dialysis, and I had to get home, or something bad was going to happen.
right.
And
So that'll clear that up.
oh, okay.
Now
Okay.
the operation in Vietnam, you had talked about when probably a couple of months into you and I talking about everything going on with the program back when your dad was, you know, doing things and you weren't even involved in it yet.
No.
They were kind of using them as tunnel rats.
Yes.
So I'm going to turn the floor over to you. That way you can kind of share everything that you learned, because you learned some pretty information. So
yeah, I how it all came to be was the other day somebody had tracked me down. No, I don't know how, but they did. They found me. Got hold of my phone number, called me, and introduced himself and everything, and we got to talking, and he said that he knowed about Project Werewolf, and that caught my attention, and I said, "Oh, really?" And he told me that he was a handler for Project Werewolf back in the day, and when he was in Vietnam, and that they used them as tunnel rats, for just going in to take out a high-profile individual, to just anything they needed done, they could get it done when, like, a human wasn't able to get to this person.
right.
Or this person was supposed to be underground. And they had tracked down and knowed what tunnel system they was in and everything.
Okay.
And
now,
so it went up.
Just to clarify
okay.
something, if I could,
Okay.
he's a handler. He's in Vietnam, but he's not a soldier. He is an operative, correct?
He's what?
He's not a soldier, but he's an operative. I'm assuming that working for the same company your dad and you worked for.
Yes.
Okay.
He was one of the handlers. So he wouldn't have been sent out on today's missions in that word of the sense.
Right.
Because all he dealt with was his group of werewolves, and he, you know, that's what he shared with me about using his that he was assigned to, or they was assigned to him. Either which way you want to look at it, and he was telling me, you know, how they got them in country and everything. You know, they was flown over. They wasn't tranquilized. They sat in the back of big cargo plane, flown over just like troops was. And in the beginning, there was 150 in total sent over there.
Mm.
And so they've got them in these holding places, you know, and they're feeding them like they was back in Virginia and all being trained. And they get ready to go to Vietnam. They put them on a plane, get them over there, yada yada, and they're waiting on their missions. Well, he starts drawing some individual targets, just not no high-ranking officers, nothing, just officers that need to go away. And they would show them pictures of them, give them general descriptions, and show them the pictures of who they was after, and tell them that whatever gets in your way, just take it out.
Mm.
So he did about 3 or 4 missions like this where he took out low-ranking individuals and all. And then one day they hit him with, well, we want to use them underground, tunnel rats. He was concerned about their size, and he said, well, let's pick the smaller ones. Pick the smallest ones you've got to go into the tunnels. And he said, we'll try it. He said, his smallest was probably 4 times one human being. So you're talking about probably a 150-pound man. So you're talking 550, 600-pound werewolf to get down in a tiny hole to get down into these tunnels, which the real tunnel rats of Vietnam had told us that after you get into the tunnels, they open up quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And they said they'll have no trouble getting in it. They said it's get through the openings to get them down into the tunnels. They said that's where your problem's going to lie, is getting a werewolf down into that tunnel. And he said after they would get in there, they would be able to move around more freely. Well, finally there came a day where he was asked to take 2 of his tunnel rats they was going to try them out on this one tunnel. They knowed where the entrance was, and they knowed where the exit was. And they was going to try them out. And on this first one that they did, there was supposed to be about 120 operatives in there. And they knowed of 3 openings on where they could come out. And the 4th being the one that they was going down into. There could have been far more, don't know how many more holes there could have been that they didn't know about. Mm-hmm. But they had been watching, and they know this one area. So they take 2 over there. I guess they had picked, I'm guessing on this, he didn't tell me this, but I'm guessing they picked the biggest hole to put them down into, of what the holes that they had. And then they put GIs at the end of the other 3, if they come running out, they're going to shoot them down. And told them to make sure the target, make sure it wasn't one of the werewolves. And because he was the only handler, he was going to get them in the holes, and he was going to go to the next place where they thought they would come out. And he said that they got him down into the hole, and he had to go, he said, 1 click to get to the biggest next place that they all thought they would come out. And there was 2 other places in between that they had found that they could come out. But they was going to have GIs on them 2, and the first one they started in. Anyway, they get them down into the holes, and they tell them to kill everything in there. men, women, children, everything. Kill them all. And he goes to the other end. Been there a couple hours. Hadn't heard nothing from them. No way to communicate with them. And all of a sudden they get a radio call from the second hole that was in line and said the werewolves just busted out right here and went tearing through the jungle. Wasn't slowing down for nobody. And went on. They got some real tunnel rats over there. And he went down in there and went through the tunnel, popped his head up at each opening and let them know that it was cleared to that point. Got to the third one, said it was cleared to that point. And this guy at the third point told them to tell the handler he didn't really want to meet these things underneath there, but they kept telling him that they'd jumped out and ran. They'd jumped out and ran. And he was just worried to death he was going to meet one of these things in there and they was going to take him out.
Right.
And so he pokes his head back down in under and goes on, comes out at the end. He said that was them two offshoot tunnels was the only two offshoot tunnels that he's seen in the entire distance of it. And he said, everybody's in there dead. And he said, I'll have nightmares over this for the rest of my life.
Mm. Yeah, they weren't small. Those tunnel systems, they were, you know, there was different levels to them. So there was probably quite a decent amount of Viet Cong in there.
Yes.
And they just went through and tore everything up.
They tore everybody up.
Wow.
And but when they got out to the end, they broke and ran.
Right.
Well, them two's gone. They was told when they went over there, you complete this mission, we'll bring you back here, and we'll turn you loose. You've done your duty.
Yeah, because you shared that with us.
And so they just never searched for him, never went on about anything else. And he said he did 2 or 3 more like that, where they hit, low numbers of Viet Cong. And they said he got a call one day to bring up 2 more and said, we've got a large tunnel we want to clear. And he thought it was like the others, And he gets up there and gets ready, and they're giving him his pictures, because there was one specific target in there they wanted to take out. Pretty high up this one was. This one was far up the chain of command. But they'd watched him go in, and this one I think had 5 entrances that they knowed of. Same setup, same everything. They took them to the first biggest opening that they knowed of, and then the others kind of ran in a line or offset, or anyway, they said, you think they can handle it? And he said, well, sure. And they told him there's over 500 Viet Cong in there. And he said, this is the biggest that we've tried. We're just sending 2. Why don't we send more? He said, we don't want to lose no more. Because with other handlers through the 28 months that they was over there, he had lost 2, it's all he had lost at that time. But other handlers had lost 17 more.
Mm.
So right now they've lost 19 total. And, no, they've lost 17 total. I'm sorry. He had lost 2, and they had lost, the other handlers had lost 13 between them. And so they come out, they put him down in there. He goes to the far end, which he said was 3 clicks away. He got there, and he's been there he got there, and he had been there for like 3 or 4 hours, and he's thinking something's wrong. Maybe they gunned him down. Maybe they shot him with something, big and powerful underground that could kill them. Or, something just went wrong, because he didn't feel like it should have took him that long in closed areas like they was having to fight and take these people out in, that it shouldn't have taken that long for him to make it through to where he was, or to where anybody was. And he sat there another 2 hours after he got to thinking that, and he said he called for a tunnel rat to be put in to start checking to see what was going on, but to know that it wasn't clear. He had called it in to get him there, and he had arrived at where they put the werewolves in at, and he was sitting there at the mouth of the 5th opening, and here they come. They busted out, wide open, gone. Said he didn't even have time. He hollered and hollered and hollered, but they wouldn't even slow down for him. And they looked healthy, he said. He said that's about all he could tell about him. He said it was dusky dark, and that's about all that they could tell. They was in a hot zone, and the soldiers was on the edge, not on account of the werewolves, but on account of it getting nightfall, and everything was, they was worried about being ambushed, more or less. Right. People coming to them openings and going in, and all the GIs was getting nervous about that. He orders two of the tunnel rats in, and they go through tunnel by tunnel. They even go down to where they found trap doors lifted up, where they went down. I think he said it went down 3 levels. And they was into them sections down there and had dead just everywhere. Said it's a mutilation. Said it was awful. And said that they finally made it to the end and came out. He said that they gave them 2 different counts. One had counted 523 and one had counted 543 dead. But that all the tunnels down there was cleared.
Wow.
And
no.
They said that the government, after this, had got to worrying about these things running loose, and thought that would come back on them if they started just attacking villagers and everybody else. So the government shut down the program, or the White House shut down the program as far as doing what they was doing over there, and brought them out. Now, they since then, or even after then, they was sent back in for individual targets. But as far as just a mass scale, like killing everyone like that, they wasn't sitting back in for nothing no more like that.
Now, when they were running, when they came out of the hill or out of the holes, were they aggressive to the Americans that were at the end of these holes, or they just, like you said, they were on the first go around, there was a couple of GIs at the end, or did they just sprint right by them?
They just ran by them. They wasn't aggressive towards no U.S. personnel at all.
Okay. All right. Now, here's my thing. Here's my question. Why was the concern of them being kind of, not released purposely, but released and then escaped? Why wouldn't they mind that? I mean, they're promised their freedom already. So why wouldn't they just say, well, I mean, that's less room on the plane back. What was the big thing of having a couple of those creatures wandering around the vast forests of Vietnam in that area?
Well, they've got a taste for blood at that point.
Mm. Okay.
And most generally, when one gets taste for human blood, they won't stop.
That's when you guys get called in, and in stateside when they get a taste for human blood. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So,
in my case, I can't go into details on this, but just like the case in Idaho that I've talked to you about.
Right. Now, my question about this Vietnam thing more, because I kind of want to talk about this for a few more minutes, if you don't mind.
Okay.
With the Vietnam case, you've got all of these creatures that are running around. Now they're kind of got a bloodlust. What did the other ones do? There was 150. So they kind of just
150 total. Yeah.
Did they close down the tunnel rat case at that point and ship them back, or?
Yeah. The other 131 came home.
Okay.
Was taken back to Virginia for some training. I don't know how many. He didn't tell me how many was involved in going into the tunnels. I'm sure all of them did at one point or the other. But as far as knowing exactly how many of them seen or didn't see action, so to speak,
mm-hmm.
I don't know that part.
Okay.
He didn't go into no details about that.
Right. Now the conversation, I'm sure, lasted a little while. How did it end? How, pretty.
Oh, we talked for close to 2 hours, and he shared a lot with me about what it was like back then.
Mm.
He said that they had tried to use them to track them in the U.S. when something went wrong, and they was not really cooperative.
Okay.
On helping with that, at least as far as a werewolf was involved.
So if one kind of went rogue, they tried to use another werewolf to track that at that time?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But evidently that didn't work out very well.
Right. So he kind of had a clue of what crap was like back in the day before there was all the fancy, electronics and stuff like that was involved during your time and stuff like that, right?
Oh no, he was. We talked about that a little bit, and he was just amazed at how it had evolved. You know, daylight to dark was his words, and which I'm sure it was from way back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. You know.
Yeah.
Even in the 80s, you know, it's been evolving ever since.
Right.
It just keeps on evolving.
That's pretty crazy that, you know, like, here you are thinking, you know, you've been there for, you knew a lot of people in the agency, and, you know, out of the blue you get a call, hey, I got to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
And you learned something new. That
learned
at that
something
point,
new.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed it because he knows my dad.
Right.
And he was able to tell me some things that they went through, but he wasn't. He wasn't in the field.
Right. Now,
he worked with them all the time.
What was he afterwards? Like, what did he do after, like, when they came home from Vietnam? What did he do? Was he like a trainer or something?
Yeah, he was a trainer, and he worked with them for, I think he said 12 or 13 more years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah. He was over there from January of 66 till May. They came home 1st of May of 68. 28 months.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, you know, being an American tunnel rat, an American GI tunnel rat.
That's the toughest job there ever was in the military, as far as Vietnam era.
Yeah. And then...
And I mean, he didn't even go into the tunnels.
Yeah, imagine being that poor guy.
He said he's like 6'4" and 260 pounds. He said he couldn't fit in.
Right. No, but I'm saying, imagine what those poor guys that, you know, had to go in after the werewolf went through there. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine what they had to see, the nightmares for the rest of their lives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they've got PTSD.
Absolutely. Now, did he mention, like, how they kept this quiet, like, with the troops? You know what I mean? I'm sure there had to have been at least a couple of hundred American troops that saw this go on, at least.
No, there was the handlers, there was the keepers. You know, the keepers are responsible for feeding, getting them water, you know, just really taking care of what they need, whatever they want, you know. If they're hungry, you know, if they tell you they're hungry, get them something to eat. I mean, you just, and imagine keeping them all in one big, huge pen over there.
Yeah.
They're thinking, wow, when we can go out, we got our freedom after a mission.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, they wasn't used. They was used sparingly, I guess, is the word.
No, but my thing was, how would they keep, like, okay, so, like, with the GIs that were at the end of the tunnel, or, like, the tunnel rats, what were they told?
They know what was in there.
Okay.
They had been briefed on it.
Okay, so I'm sure there was, like, a...
Some of them laughed, and some of them said, I hope they come out our hole so we can see them. And, you know, during the briefing, if you want to see them, you can go over there, you can talk to them. And, you know, they were selected. They selected a certain amount to be around them. They had to have a psych evaluation, all kinds of things.
Disclosure forms filled out and stuff like that. And yeah. You know, I and you and I have talked a long time. You and I have a friendship.
Yeah, I hope we do.
And I'll admit, you know, when you and I first started talking, I was like, wow, this is insane. But then now the more that I have, you know, started to kind of broaden my horizons with the channel and looking into like conspiracies of things and projects that are going on that went on back then and are still going on, it isn't that crazy to think about, you know? Like if you think about all of the stuff that is going on in like Dulce, New Mexico, you know, with the genetic creations, it doesn't seem so far-fetched to me as it did in the very beginning. Like when I first talked to you, I was like, wow, this is pretty crazy the first week, you know what I mean? But then the more I talked to you and the more I learned about you and the more I, you know, was able to witness, then I knew, holy crap, this is the real deal. You know, and I saved the emails that I received from the agency telling me to, you know, yada yada, but it doesn't seem so crazy now that I'm learning about all of these government or sub-government projects that we as Americans aren't even at liberty to even know. You know, it's insane. It really is.
Yeah. There's let's see how to say this. There's probably 3-letter how do I say it? There's 3-letter departments like the CIA or the FBI or the SAA or, you know, different departments, just saying what I'm just calling off them letters.
Right.
You know, them are pretty well known. And there's probably 50 that's unknown to the American people, if not more.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. It's pretty crazy. It's scary.
And, you know, in all honesty, the citizens ought to know about all of them. You know, I can't delve into that.
Right. No, but I was just thinking, like, you know, the more I've learned, like, I remember a hunt that you had talked about where you had seen some sort of spider-like creature.
Yeah.
And it was out west. And that makes a lot of sense because of the crap that, you know, I received an email about a week ago almost, 300 and something pages of just information that blew my mind. Like, I didn't sleep for a day almost after reading it because I was like, holy crap. But then I think about things and it makes sense, you know, like, wow, this thing that he saw was, you were around that area. I mean, you weren't too far from it, so why the hell wouldn't there be something like that out there? You know, it's pretty crazy what the powers that be have control of, you know, and it's the powers that be aren't even the people that we think are the powers that be. That's the scariest part about it. They're just a puppet, you know?
Yep.
Damn. And then here you are in friends of yours in the agency and stuff like that are just, you know, kind of told what you're only supposed to know, and you guys are puppets of the and it's sad. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
So Now this guy, he's retired, I'm assuming?
He's retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's 80 something years old, I think is what he said.
wow.
80 I thought he said he's 80. Yeah.
Now, did he tell you how he got involved in the agency or whatnot?
He was in the military,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a Marine, and he was getting ready to get out. He had a spotless record, getting ready. Actually, he had came home from Vietnam and was getting ready to get out, and his record was spotless. He was very intelligent, had a super high IQ, and they approached him and offered him a job. Offered him a job as a keeper to start with, and he moved up to a trainer. And then, you know, back then you kind of worked your way through the ranks to get up there, or they put you straight into it, depending, you know, on where you was, but,
Mm-hmm.
or how good you was. And he didn't want to go no further. He wanted to stay a trainer.
Right.
That's what he wanted to do. He realized that training them and handling them meant that if they got called on, that him being a handler, that he would have to go too. And that meant him keeping himself physically fit. And he just, that was the life he chose.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that when you came on the show, people were talking about Dogman and Bigfoot and a creature that resembled a Dogman and Bigfoot combined. There was not really a name for it. People were using the Micmac name, the Gov'T, for it, which really they didn't. That fit that creature and it fit the Bigfoot creature. But like the big three was kind of what you brought into the playing field. You know, you said, hey, there are the big three, the Dogman, the werewolf, and the Sasquatch. That's what my special teams hunted. And you know, it's pretty crazy that when you first came on, you and I were kind of mocked a little bit about that. And now there's people talking about the big three. There's people, instead of saying, oh, it's just a Dogman, now they're saying, yes, there's a werewolf, this and that, you know. And it's pretty strange how it went. To where you and I mean, when I first had you on, I had people making Reddit posts about me saying that I was just some piece of garbage and you were a liar and this and that. And it was hard. And now it's kind of, I don't know how I feel about that. How do you feel about that? Like,
well, I mean, it's kind of disturbing that it takes something I brought to you. You know, I brought it to you. I picked you. I selected you. I listened and worked, and I had permission to pull the string on this 6 or 7 months before I did.
mm-hmm.
You know, coming to somebody to see if we could get it put out there a little bit. Safety.
Right.
You know, make them aware of it. Well, they kind of, I guess they, for a better word, they just kind of, when I found somebody, they didn't think that we would move forward with it like we did. And we did. And I was so excited. And I think they want to do a disclosure, but they don't want to do a total disclosure.
Right.
Well, I'm trying to get it out this way. You know, we're going to do it slow, and we're going to do it easy. And then it picked up, and it picked up. And people started copying what you was saying and talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they backed off on me a little bit, you know, saying all this stuff on account of the other people copying you.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I have this in my studio, and I'll make a copy of it. I'm surprised I haven't. I feel kind of bad for not. But a sub sent this to me, and they actually designed a big 3 file, and it's so neat. I'll use it as I'll use this thing as the thumbnail, but I'll make a copy and I'll email it to you. And
Okay.
It says the big 3 file, and it's got a picture of a human, then a Bigfoot, a Dogman, and a werewolf. And under the Bigfoot it says lifespan approximately 100 years. Then the next line, Bigfoot are mostly territorial, U.S. breeding program unsuccessful. Approximate max weight 800 pounds or 362.874 kilograms. Mostly bipedal, max height. They put an unknown because they really didn't. Then the Dogman, max lifespan 66 years. Dogman are nomadic, 1954 U.S. breeding program, trained and tagged. Max weight 220 or 99.7903 kilograms. Prefer running on all fours, but also bipedal. Max height 6'8 or 1.8288 meters. In 2008, approximately 35,000 were released U.S. Then the werewolf, max lifespan 68 years. Werewolves, nomadic, 52 U.S. breeding program, trained and tagged. 470 pounds max weight or 213.18 kilograms. Mostly bipedal, but runs faster on all fours. Max height 8'7". In 2008, 22,620 were released in the States. The breeding program started in 1952 to 2008. When it ended due to cost, technically, the breeding program continues in the wild. By the time the breeding program ended in 2008, the facility held approximately 22,680 tagged werewolves.
Yep.
And it talks in the cover page created by who it was created by. But you know,
that's pretty neat.
All this information that you shared with me has really kind of opened my eyes to things and made me want to kind of dig deeper. I think when I first met you, I was pretty content with sharing just stories, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think talking to you, meeting you, kind of lit a fire under my ass. And I wanted to learn more. I wanted to, you know, talk about these attacks that are going on. You know, I dove deep into last year's multiple attacks. I mean, last year was just a shit show for attacks.
Horrendous.
Yeah. And I said it in the beginning of the year. I don't know why, but I think this year's going to be bad. And it was. And now in Virginia, they're dealing with, Virginia and West Virginia are dealing with something very, very unique over there. With bodies turning up and bodies disappearing. I don't know. And I just want to thank you because, you know, if you hadn't approached me, I think I would have just been content with narrating encounters and not really learning anything. But now it's like I have to learn something new every day to feel like I've achieved something on this channel, to help other people, you know, and
Yeah. That was our purpose, to help other people.
yeah,
You know, when I talked to you and told you what I wanted to do and kind of how I'd like to do it now, you agreed. We ran with it.
yeah,
And it helped a lot of people. And I think it still is today.
yeah, yep.
You know, you've got them stories up and on there, and they can listen to them.
Yeah, I've got one whole section just dedicated to your hunts and your Q&As and this and that, and it's, you know, so.
And, you know, that's what it was about.
Yeah.
And I just, it's like you said, these people are stealing from you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's, I thought it's copyrighted materials, so I thought, you know, maybe go after them for a copyright infringement. I don't know.
Maybe. But, you know, I mean, just at least the news is getting out there to people.
Yeah,
there is.
That's right. That's a good thing.
You know, like I thought it was really beneficial that we learned, hey, there is, you know, because there was a lot of people talking about Dogman and Bigfoot, but then there was a lot of people talking about a Dogman that was tailless and seemed like it was smarter, you know. Like the guys, the paramedics out in Connecticut.
Yeah,
that's
a good example.
Yeah, tactically very intelligent, and I'm wondering, you know, were they part of the program? I wonder if they were part of the program, and because of how tactical they were.
Yeah, and they had went bad. If you know they came from the program, they had went bad because they're supposed to protect, not do that. But them, that particular case, those were very, very tactical.
Yeah.
Moves that they took.
Very incredible. Very cool. Well, you know, I appreciate you coming on and talking with us tonight. I know a lot of people are going to be happy to hear your voice and that to know that you're alive. I receive emails all the time, you know, just saying, hey, will you check up on Victor? Well, I talk to you. We don't talk a lot, but we talk often enough.
Yeah, we talk every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And sometimes more often than that.
Yeah. And, you know, we've got something in the mix, working on something. I don't want to really talk about it too much, but I'm pretty excited about what's planned.
I am too.
So anyway, it was great having you on. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the audience before we end?
Well, I'd like to first thank you for having me back on, and just let you know that, you know, I'm around if you need any questions answered. I'm always just a phone call away.
Yeah.
And to the audience, you know, just look back at the videos. Remember what I've told you to do in particular cases. You know, if you're out in the woods and for some reason do see one of these, which it's highly likely you will not, but in the case you do, you know, just do what I said. Don't be afraid to go out there and just be safe and enjoy the outdoors and enjoy your lives. Don't live it in a shell.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Can't live it in a shell.
Now, really quick before we end this, I kind of want to. Now, there's been a lot of people that talk about going out in the woods and, you know, being prepared. Now, you and I just spoke about this, and you kind of agreed with me. If you're going out in the woods and you're going with your family, and you, let's say, I don't know, don't want to carry a rifle or something, that new round, and I'm not sponsored by this company, but there's a new round from Fort Scott Munitions. It's called Tumble Upon Impact. And you and I talked about it a little bit. There's an 80 grain and 115 grain. And they're taking out bears with a 9mm round and wild boar. And I said, what do you think if I went out in the woods and I had my Ruger Security 9 with me, and I came up against the Dogman and I pumped 2 to 3 rounds of this? Do you think I might make it out of the woods?
Yes, I think you would. With this new round that's been developed, it does a lot of damage.
I'm wondering if this company had any, I'm wondering if there was any knowledge of these you know what I mean? Like, just...
Yeah. I mean, it could have led to the development of this bullet, for all I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. This round is the damage that it does, and it's a 9mm. You think, I watched a video of a guy, he had, I think it was a Ruger PC9, and I have one. Great little rifle. And he's a black bear, pop, one shot, the bear does a roll, and it's over. And I was like, no, what? And it's...
Everybody thought that video was fake.
Yep.
You can't... You're going to spend a lot of money to get somebody to bring a black bear in that's trained and can do all this. You're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get them to do that.
Yeah. So guys, Fort Scott Munitions, TUI, Tumble Upon Impact, 80 to 115 grain. If you guys are going in the woods and you go just even on a hike, and you've got
9mm.
Invest in that round, because if by chance you do stumble upon one of these, even if you don't stumble upon one of these and you stumble upon a bear or a mountain lion, you know, at least you're walking out, Yeah. But practice your bullet placements as well too.
Till somebody tries one on the Dogman or werewolf or even a Bigfoot. I don't think I'd try it on Bigfoot.
No.
I'd be scared it'd make it mad, just to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
I don't know. I don't know. Just when they did the dissection of the bear, that was...
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, it was tore up.
But if you mag dump it, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, if you hit him every time, you could probably got him.
Yeah. So, guys,
I agree.
Fort Scott Munitions. I'm once again not sponsored by these guys, but if you're going out in the woods and you only have a 9mm pistol, at least this way you might make it out. So, Victor, it was great having you on. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, don't hang up.
And there you have it, folks. Tonight's second half. I do hope you all enjoyed it as much as enjoyed sharing it with you. Man, it is really nice to occasionally go down memory lane and listen to an old interview with Victor and introduce new people to him. He was a true asset to the channel. He really shared a lot of information and was entertaining at that, So true information with true entertainment. I miss him. All right, folks, thank you for supporting the channel. It is your support that keeps this channel growing and going. And what gives folks like us a chance and a place to share our experiences and theories judgment-free? Just simply treat it with the respect that we all deserve. Thank you. Everyone, please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there, and they are dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless.